The target vocabulary for this section are the adjectives ambiguous, hideous, aesthetic, myriad, and concise. So to kick off the course, we're going to look at 5 adjectives. Let's look at word number 1. Word number 1 is ambiguous, which means having more than one meaning. For example, you have to try hard to understand the novel. Many parts of it are ambiguous, so it can be confusing. So ambiguous means having more than one meaning. In this example, I said many parts of the novel are ambiguous. This means that some sentences could have more than one meaning, depending on your angle, depending on how you look at it. Let me give you another example. Imagine I say, let's go to the bank. This sentence is ambiguous because it could have more than one meaning. The word bank has 2 meanings in English. One meaning is the place where we go to deposit and withdraw money. But another meaning of bank is the place beside a river. It's called a riverbank. So we go to the bank to deposit and withdraw money, or we go to the bank to relax beside the river. So the sentence, let's go to the bank, is ambiguous because it has more than one possible meaning. Now let's look at word number 2. Word number 2 is hideous, which means very ugly or bad. For example, look at that hideous new building. What architect designed that? In this example, the person is looking at a very ugly building, and he's saying, "Oh, what a hideous building. Who designed that ugly building?" So hideous is a very strong adjective. You're saying something is very ugly or very bad. Another example would be, imagine my friend is dressed in a suit, but the suit is orange, his tie is blue, and his shoes are white. Now this is a very strange color combination, blue, orange, and white. So I can say to my friend, "Oh my goodness, that is the most hideous color combination I've ever seen." So hideous means very bad or very ugly. It's quite a strong adjective. Let's look at word 3 now. Word number 3 is aesthetic, which means relating to beauty and appearance. For example, people are attracted to the aesthetic appeal of the car rather than its performance. In this example, the person is saying, look, people don't buy this car for its fantastic performance. Maybe it's not very fast or it's not very energy efficient. What they buy it for is its beauty, its appearance. So its aesthetic appeal is why people like it. Another example of aesthetic would be, imagine a woman goes to buy a new handbag, but she doesn't really care about what it looks like. She just wants a handbag to carry things. She doesn't care if it's a designer handbag or if it looks beautiful. She's going to buy a bag for its practical purpose rather than its aesthetic appeal. So she doesn't care about the beauty of it. She only cares about the practicality of it, that it can carry things. She doesn't care what it looks like. So she doesn't care about the aesthetics of the bag. Now let's look at word number 4. Word number 4 is myriad, which means very many. For example, You'll enjoy the myriad museums, monuments, and attractions in the city. In this example, I'm emphasizing that the city has very many museums and many monuments and many attractions. So myriad means very many. You're emphasizing the number. Another example would be, imagine on a clear night, you look up into the sky and you see hundreds of stars. So you can say, wow, look at the myriad stars in the sky. Isn't it beautiful? So myriad, you're emphasizing the large number of something. Now let's look at the last word. Word number 5 is concise, which means giving a lot of information in few words. For example, even though John's presentations are a bit boring, they are concise. Here I'm saying, look, John's presentations are a bit boring, but the good thing is they are concise. So concise is usually a positive meaning. It means you're using a few words, it's very short, but you're giving lots of information in those few words. Another example of concise is a concise book. So imagine a book on world history. If you give a full account of world history, the book would be humongous. However, if I give a concise account of world history, the book will be relatively short, but it will give lots of information in those few words. So concise is usually a good meaning. It doesn't mean too short. It's a good meaning. Now you need to move on to the pronunciation training, where you'll see a close-up of my mouth and you'll be able to master each word's pronunciation very accurately. I'll see you there.